You know, when people talk about the Canadian dream, there's always this kind of movie montage that plays out in your head.
Oh, absolutely.
It's all snowy landscapes, diverse cities, safety. But the real climax of that montage, the big finale, is always economic opportunity. This idea that if you can just get in, you're set.
It's an incredibly powerful narrative. And for the hundreds of thousands of international students looking at Canada, that's the engine. That's what drives them.
Exactly. But here's the thing, and it's why we're doing this deep dive today. Between that dream and actually, setting foot on a campus, there's this massive wall.
A bureaucratic wall.
Yes, called the Canadian Study Permit. And looking at the documents we have from Dara Immigration Services, especially the updates for 2025 and 2026, this is not a fill out a form and hope for the best kind of deal anymore.
Not at all. I mean, the difference between now and even a few years ago is just night and day.
Yeah.
It used to be a wide open funnel. Now it's a labyrinth.
A labyrinth with higher financial walls, strict caps.
And honestly, a lot more ways to get a no if you're not paying attention to every single detail.
So that's our mission today. We're going to take this complex stack of regulations, all the new math, the acronyms like PLLs and DLIs, and turn it into a clear roadmap for you.
Whether you want to be a welder or a PhD in astrophysics.
The landmines are the same for everyone.
And there's some brand new ones that catch people completely off guard.
Okay, so let's start with the absolute most basic thing, because I'll admit, reading the source material, I realized I've been using two words wrong my entire life.
I have a feeling I know which ones. You're talking about visa and permit.
I am. In my head, it was simple. You get a visa, you fly to Canada, you go to class.
And if you do that, you're going to have a very, very short trip. It's probably the most critical distinction to make right at the start.
Okay, so break it down for us.
Think of it like a members-only club. The visa, or TRV, temporary resident visa, that's just the bouncer at the front door.
He checks my ID and lets me in the building.
Exactly. He says, okay, you're cleared to enter. That's it. It grants you entry. But the study permit,
Yeah.
that's your membership card.
That's what lets me go to the bar, get on the dance floor.
That's what lets you stay. It says you are legally allowed to be here for this purpose, studying at this school for this amount of time.
So you really do need two separate things.
You do. And here's the part that really gets people. When you apply from outside Canada, you're applying for the permit. If they approve it, they automatically stick the visa in your passport so you can travel.
Okay, that makes sense.
But you don't actually have the permit yet.
Wait, what? You don't have it in your hand when you get on the plane?
No. You land, you show your visa to get through the first checkpoint, and then you go see a border officer. That officer prints the physical study permit and hands it to you right there.
That sounds incredibly high stakes after an 8-hour flight.
It is. If your documents aren't perfect in that moment, your acceptance letter, your proof of funds, or if you stumble on their questions, they can refuse to issue it.
And then what?
Then you could be on the next plane home, visa and all.
Wow. Okay, that's a terrifying but very necessary place to start. So you need the key, which is the visa, and the contract, which is the permit.
Perfect analogy.
Now, let's talk about the next hurdle, the one in the source material that genuinely made my eyes pop, the money.
Ah, yes. The cost of living requirement.
I remember this number used to be, what, like $10,000? But looking at the 2025, 2026 numbers in these guidelines, it's a whole different world.
It is. For years, that $10,000 figure never changed. But the Immigration Department, IRCC, finally admitted that it was nowhere near realistic. Students were showing up broke.
Right. They couldn't afford rent in Toronto on that.
They couldn't afford groceries. It was causing real problems.
Yeah.
Food banks, illegal work. So they corrected the number, and they corrected it aggressively.
Let's get into the specifics. For a single student listening right now, what do they need in their bank account?
Okay, so this is in addition to your first year of tuition. This is just your living costs. You need to show proof of $22,895 Canadian fittings.
Almost $23,000 just to live.
Just to live, and that's just for one person. If you're bringing a spouse, you have to add another $5,055 on top of that.
Okay.
And for every child you bring, it's another $5,893.
So let me do the math here. A student with a partner and one kid needs over $33,000 in liquid cash, plus tuition.
Yes. You're easily looking at needing to show proof of $50,000 or $60,000.
Mm.
And this goes to the why. Financial instability is a top reason for refusal.
And it's not just about having the money, right? The guidelines kept stressing the history of the money.
Yes, because officers are trained to spot fraud. They know people borrow money from an uncle or an agent just to print a statement.
So they look back a few months.
They want to see the last 4 months of bank statements. They're looking for that spike. If you've had $1,000 in your account for months, and then suddenly $50,000 appears a week before you apply,
That's a huge red flag.
it's a deal breaker. Unless you can prove exactly where it came from, like a property sale contract, a formal loan document. Otherwise, they'll just assume it's not really your money.
So the best way is to have it sit there for a while.
Or you use what they call a GIC, a guaranteed investment certificate.
Right, explain that.
It's where you transfer a large chunk of that living expense money directly to a Canadian bank before you even apply for the visa. The bank holds it for you.
That sounds intense. Your money is in Canada before you are.
It is, but it's the gold standard for proof. It tells the officer, look, this isn't fake. The money is literally here, locked away for my expenses.
Right.
It removes all doubt.
Okay, so we've got the permit, we've got the money. Now we have to talk about how the rules of the game itself have changed. Because, wow.
Yes, late 2024 and into 2025. These are some of the biggest shifts in decades. The government decided the numbers were just too high.
And that brings us to this acronym that's everywhere now. PAL. PAL, Provincial Attestation Letter.
Right.
What on earth is that?
Before January 2024, schools could accept as many international students as they wanted. It was a free-for-all.
And the provinces couldn't handle the influx. Not enough housing, transit.
Exactly. So the federal government put their foot down. They gave each province a cap, a maximum number of students they could bring in each year. The PIL is how they enforce that cap.
So it's basically the province's permission slip.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's the province saying, okay, this specific student counts toward our limited quota, and you cannot, under any circumstances, apply for a study permit without one.
If you just submit with the school's acceptance letter.
It gets rejected instantly. Incomplete application.
Is anyone exempt from this?
Yes, and the exemptions tell you everything about Canada's priorities.
Yeah.
If you're applying for a master's degree or a PhD, you do not need a PL.
So they get a pass.
They get a pass.
Right.
K-12 students also get a pass. But if you're going to a college for a diploma or a university for a bachelor's degree,
You're in the thick of it. You need that letter.
you absolutely do. It's a clear signal. And speaking of signals, we have to talk about what the sources call the transfer trap. This is the update from November 8th, 2024.
I highlighted this one. It sounds like a logistical nightmare. Tell us what happened.
Okay, so imagine you come to Canada, you start at College A month in, you hate it. Or you find a better program at College B across the street.
Okay.
In the old days, you could just switch. You'd enroll at College B, log into your online account, and just notify the government, hey, I moved. That's it.
And
That's gone. If you want to change schools now, you must apply for an entirely new study permit.
from scratch, with all the fees, the documents, the waiting.
Everything. From the very beginning.
yeah.
And this is the trap. You are not allowed to start studying at the new school until that new permit is approved and in your hand.
So you're just stuck. You've left the old school, but you can't start at the new one.
You are stuck in limbo. And if you jump the gun, if you start classes while you wait, you are violating the terms of your stay. You're studying without authorization.
Which could get you sent home.
Or banned from applying again. It means that the old idea of, I'll figure it out when I get there, is over. You have to be certain about your choice before you land.
Okay, let's say you've done all that. You're in. You've got the permit. You're at the right school. Now life begins. Can you work? Can you afford a cup of coffee?
This is an area with some relatively good news. If you're a full-time student and your permit is valid, you can work off campus.
What's the limit?
The current rule is 24 hours per week while your classes are in session.
24. That's so specific. It used to be 20, didn't it?
It was 20 for ages.
Yeah.
During the pandemic, they temporarily lifted the cap entirely. Then they settled on 24. It's basically 3 full workdays. Enough to help with the bills, but not so much that you're failing your program.
And what about on breaks? Like the summer?
During scheduled academic breaks, winter holidays, summer vacation, the limit is removed. You can work full-time as many hours as you want.
That summer job is key for a lot of students.
It's how they survive. It's how they pay the next year's tuition. But there's a dark side to this work conversation, especially for families.
The spousal work permits.
Exactly. The old model was one person studies, their spouse gets an open work permit and works full-time to support the family.
A pretty common strategy.
Well, that strategy is now off the table for most people.
Who's been cut out?
Spouses of students in college diploma programs and most undergraduate bachelor's degrees are now generally ineligible for a work permit.
Wow. That completely changes the math for a family wanting to come over.
It shatters the math. The spousal open work permit is now basically reserved for the spouses of students in master's and doctoral programs.
Yeah.
PhDs, basically.
So if I'm coming to a college for a 2-year business diploma,
Your spouse can come with you as a visitor, but they cannot legally work.
so not only do you need way more money up front, your ability to earn money as a family once you're here has been cut in half.
It's another filter. Canada is basically saying, we want highly educated families who can support themselves without relying on the spouse's income.
Which leads us to the long game. Because nobody does all this just for a diploma. They do it for what comes after. The post-graduation work permit, the PGWP.
The ultimate prize. The bridge to permanent residency.
But the rules for that bridge have changed too.
This might be the biggest change of all. It used to be simple. You graduate from a valid school, you get a work permit. Easy.
Not anymore.
Not for everyone. There's now a two-tier system. If you graduate from a university with a degree, a bachelor's, master's, or PhD, you're generally still eligible for the PGWP.
Okay, so they're safe?
For now. But if you graduate from a college, you're only eligible for the work permit if your program is directly linked to an occupation in a major labor shortage.
So it's not about graduating anymore, it's about what you graduate in.
Precisely. We're talking healthcare, the skilled trades, plumbers, electricians, welders, agriculture, transport. Very specific fields.
Let me get this straight. If I go to a great college and get a diploma in nursing.
You'll get your PGWP. Canada desperately needs nurses.
But if I go to that same college and get a diploma in, say, hospitality management or graphic design.
You will likely graduate and then have to pack your bags and go home. Ineligible for the work permit.
That is brutal. You could spend 2 years and tens of thousands of dollars and end up at a dead end.
Which is why you have to check this before you even apply to the school. The government is no longer saying, come study what you love. It's saying, come study what we need.
It's explicitly curating a future workforce.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay, so let's quickly run through the actual application gauntlet. Someone is listening. They've got the money. They've picked a trade. What are the steps?
Okay, step 1. Choose your school, your DLI, and confirm it's eligible for the PGWP. Don't skip that.
Don't buy a ticket to nowhere.
Step 2, get your letter of acceptance from the school. Once you have that, the school helps you get your PAL from the province. You have to wait for both.
Right. LOA, then PAL.
Step 3, gather your documents, financials, and your letter of explanation.
Let's pause there. The letter of explanation. How important is that, really?
It's your only chance to speak to the officer. It's where you connect the dots. You have to explain why this specific program, why in Canada, and this is key, how this degree will help your career when you go back home.
But wait, everyone knows the goal is to stay?
That's the paradox. It's called dual intent. You are allowed to have the intent to apply to stay, but you must prove you are a genuine student who will leave if their temporary status expires.
So if your plan doesn't make sense?
If you're a 45-year-old accountant applying for a 2-year baking diploma, the officer is going to look at that and say no.
On what grounds?
Purpose of visit. It's a catch-all. It just means, I don't believe your story. I think you're just trying to get into the country. The narrative has to be logical.
So you submit the application, pay the fees, $150 plus $85 for biometrics.
Then you wait for instructions to give your fingerprints and photo. You might need a medical exam. And then you just wait.
Before we wrap up, let's cover the worst case scenario. You're in Canada, you're studying, you're stressed with exams, and you realize your permit expired last week. What happens?
You are officially out of status. It's serious. But you don't have to flee the country immediately. There's a safety net.
Okay.
It's called restoration of status. You have exactly 90 days from the day your permit expired to apply for it.
90 days seems pretty generous.
It is, but here's the catch, and it's a big one. During that entire restoration period from the day you apply until you get a decision, you cannot study and you cannot work.
You're just frozen.
Completely. If you go to even one class or work one shift, you violated the rules again, and your restoration will be refused. You're just sitting at home, burning through savings, waiting.
The lesson is, set a calendar reminder 6 months out.
Please do not let it get to that point.
This has been a lot. We started with the Canadian dream, and we've spent this time really digging into the machinery behind it.
And if you don't understand the machinery, that dream can fall apart very quickly.
So, to recap the big points for everyone listening, it's a permit to stay, not just a visa to enter. You need a lot of cash, around $23K plus tuition for one person. and you have to prove where it came from.
Right, you need a PL for most undergraduate programs, and if you change schools, you need a whole new permit. Do not just show up at a new campus.
And most importantly, if the post-graduation work permit is your goal, you have to make sure your college program is on Canada's labor shortage list.
The era of come one, come all is over. It's now come if you fit.
I think that's the big takeaway. This is a shift from a system of, general education and cultural exchange to one that is ruthlessly focused on economics.
Canada isn't just accepting students, it's actively recruiting a specific future workforce.
So I guess the question we want to leave you with is this. We know you have a Canadian dream, but does your dream actually align with what's on Canada's economic strategy?
Because right now, the system is built to reward those who fit into the neat boxes, the nurses, the welders, the PhDs, and to filter out almost everyone else.
It's a sobering thought. You have to treat it like a business plan.
Exactly. Not just an adventure.
Thank you so much for walking us through all of this. It's been incredibly insightful.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, double-check those dates, read the fine print, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.